let's get started. Are you our staff today, Ashley?
I sure am. Good morning, or good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
Roll call. Councilmember Morrell.
Here.
Councilmember Jeruso. Councilmember Harris. Councilmember King. Councilmember Green.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. First up, we have the approval of the minutes from the July 8th meeting. I will move to adopt the minutes. Is there any objection? I'm sorry, seconded by Councilmember Harris. Is there any objection to the adoption of the July 8th meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are adopted. First up, we have appointments. I just want to make for the record, appointment E will be tabled as it is being withdrawn. So instead, that leaves us with A through D. The first up, we have Sewage and Water Board, Kimberly Thomas. Do we have a waiver on that one? No, I have a waiver. All right, we'll pass over that. There is no waiver, so we have to wait for her to show up to go forward. Next up, we have the Fairgrounds Citizens Advisory Committee with Linda Landsberg. Come on up, Linda. It's the same question we ask everyone. Why do you want to be on the Fairgrounds Citizens Advisory Committee?
One, because I was so honored that Joe Giurusso asked me, number one. And two, I have served on the board initially when it first began, and it was an incredibly eye-opening and rewarding experience. I left for a while, and I found that it was very important to keep those provisos watched, and which is basically the whole purpose of having the committee. And it's a great way to keep a good relationship with the fairgrounds, who we think is a valuable member of the committee from a neighborhood standpoint. So I'm happy to serve, especially along with my surrounding neighbors from the surrounding neighborhoods. And I think it's important for us to keep great relationships with businesses like that in the city.
All right, thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Jeruso, seconded by myself. All in favor?
Aye.
You recommend it to council for approval. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next up, we have Jacqueline Mouton-Kepper.
Councilmember, I'm asking for deferral on this.
Okay. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that one will be deferred. Next up, we have the CBD Historic District Landmarks Commission, Leo John Arnett. Come on down. Same question. Why do you want to serve on the CBD Historic District Landmarks Commission?
Thank you, Council. I did prepare a couple of remarks, which I think was just nervousness. CBD HDLC plays a significant regulatory role in shaping development, revitalization, and growth. In a city as historic and significant as New Orleans, it's imperative that we preserve this architectural integrity of our beautiful buildings and districts. I and GNO Inc. have an interest and a mission to secure the betterment of the city and the region through development and growth. It's important that New Orleans is an ideal location where companies, startups, and entrepreneurs want and decide to do business. GNO Inc. as economic developers, for the sake of all residents, we have a sincere interest to engage the process in a very direct way. This mission provides me with a critical perspective and eagerness to serve on the CBD HDLC. It was Jane Jacobs who identified the importance of varied building stock, specifically buildings of different ages, as essential to a thriving and affordable and dynamic city. Older buildings provide lower costs and lower rents, providing an opportunity for small businesses and startups and other entities that bring growth and development to the neighborhood. In New Orleans, particularly in the CBD, we have such a building stock, seasoned with beautiful architecture ripe for the next generation of local talent. Additionally, from GNO Inc.'s role for Super Bowl preparations, we believe that it's a critical importance for the procedure. And so I'm grateful to GNO Inc. for nominating me and the Mayor's Office for selecting me. And I also want to thank Councilmember Harris for introducing the motion to provide GNO Inc. with the nominating ability, as this is essential for growth, preservation, and revitalization.
Thank you very much.
I'll move.
Councilman Harris moves. I will second. All in favor? 5 yeas, no nays. The appointment will be moved to the full council for consideration. Next up, Ms. Thomas, come on up. Same question we asked you last time. Why do you want to be on the Sewage and Water Board?
Okay, so this time I quickly jotted something down because this is intimidating. The reason is because I have invested too much in our city to ever give up on her. I graduated from Edna Carr in the 1900s, as my son says. I graduated from Xavier. I went to law school in Baton Rouge. I came right back down during Katrina to serve as a GOSUP disaster recovery specialist. I have been on the top of most roofs in the, under OPSB to do inspections for the old buildings and for schools. I've been in abandoned jails with mosquitoes that are as big as fists, haunted hospitals, walked miles of road to present appeals for grant funding. I've sorted through wet files to get agencies to answer when money was at stake. I am the call that most folks make on the day of election to break down amendments. I live to teach our senior citizens and our youth while making it fun through gaming and AI education. I do quirky little tech segments just to educate our city. And for fun, I write proposals, opinion pieces, strategy plans, and grants just to make our city stronger. I want to do the same thing for Sewage and Water Board. I want to invest in our city.
Thank you. I think there's online comment.
Yes, there is. This one comment from Mr. Robert Hass, and it says, "Good afternoon, Council. Why are we continuing to reopen old wounds? This individual has already served on this board and was previously not chosen due to an ethics violation. There are truly no new qualified candidates who can bring fresh leadership and integrity to this role. Reappointing someone from a regime that was responsible for some of the worst governance failures between 2014 and 2017 is a step backward. Let's not forget, in 2017, New Orleans experienced devastating flooding due to pump and power failures despite public claims that all systems were operational. The Sewage and Water Board misled the public, resulting in resignations and firings of top officials, including the executive director. The OIG repeatedly criticized the board for mismanagement, lack of financial controls, and failure to enforce oversight. The board was plagued by inaccurate billing scandals, customer service failures, and investigations by the Inspector General for mismanagement and weak internal controls. Public trust was deeply eroded, and rightfully so. Isn't that the very platform many of you are currently campaigning on? We should not be recycling new failed leadership. The people of New Orleans deserve progress, not a return to dysfunction. Let's move the city forward and not back into controversy." That's it.
Is there any comment from the dais?
I'd like to comment.
Go ahead.
I appreciate your willingness to serve on the Sewage and Water Board. We know that it's an agency that certainly has its challenges. It's a state agency, so you're really taking on a responsibility that sometimes the city council can't control. But at the end of the day, people who are willing to serve need to be recognized for that willingness to serve, especially if you know that you're going into a controversial situation. I look forward to your continuing to keep us as a council apprised of what's going on, should this vote go in the direction of approving you. But thank you for your willingness to serve, and at the end of the day, we look forward to more communications. It's an important agency.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. What I will say very briefly is that the council's role in the confirmation process is to review documentation, make sure the documentation is correct. We are not the appointing authority per se. We are the people that confirms what the appointing authority puts in front of us. There were some issues in the original application which was withdrawn and resubmitted. That has been done in the past. We have allowed people, when they made a mistake, to withdraw and resubmit and disclose whatever needs to be disclosed, which has been done by the administration. So that is my comment as far as saying the previous application was withdrawn because there were parts of the application that were incorrect, and they were corrected with full disclosure. So that's just to correct the record. I will entertain a motion. Motion by Councilmember King. Can I get a second? Seconded by myself.
I'll second.
Oh, sorry. Councilman Green seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, you will be moved to full council. You're good, Thomas. Last up, we have an ordinance for consideration and discussion. Motion 25411 by myself, which amends Rule 55B of the Council Rules and Regulations to limit authorized drivers of council vehicles to council members and post-certified executive security personnel, commissioned law enforcement officers. As I stated previously, this reflects our current insurance situation. Additionally, it is an effort to limit the liability of the New Orleans City Council by restricting the usage of vehicles to those people who have traditionally, as far as I have seen, operate those vehicles. Mr. Green.
I just want to make a couple of things clear, and it's important. No matter how the vote goes, right now, anyone who is an authorized member of the council staff is permitted to drive a city council vehicle. There was a video online, for example, done by someone, in my opinion, suggesting that there was something wrong. Someone was taking a picture of my chief of staff getting into the vehicle with my authorization to drive that vehicle. That is absolutely, positively, according to City Council regulations. What's being proposed today is a change that would remove staff members from that list of people who are allowed to use the vehicle. I simply oppose that. I don't favor making a change that is going to affect council members going forward when since 2021, these regulations were updated and it was still in place. So any council member who has allowed a member of his staff to, with his authorization or her authorization, to use the vehicle was doing so in accordance to council rules. These are my objections. I would ask that we consider addressing it at a later date if necessary, not approving the change today. But I want to make it clear that when I'm out of town, yes, I do want my business to be conducted, and I think that it's fair if somebody is conducting the business of the council that they are able to use the city council vehicle that is just going to be sitting there doing nothing. At the end of the day also, sometimes I'm in a council meeting and my security needs to be here and I want something done, whether it be a presentation of a proclamation, whether it be addressing an issue. They might have to go to Baton Rouge. That hasn't happened, but I don't think that I should be required to force a staff member to use their own vehicle. But I do want to disagree with one thing. I have the council's insurance policy, and it says the following people are insured. You, which would be me for any covered auto. Anyone else, while using your permission, a covered auto that you own, or for example, or in this particular case, we don't own it, but also someone using a covered auto while he or she is working in a business of selling, servicing, repairing, parking, or storing autos, unless that business is yours. The bottom line is that this is in the insurance policy, and it suggests strongly that it covers insurance, in the insurance needs of our staff. Staff is often needed to drive for official council business, as I've mentioned previously, such as attending events. Removing the flexibility slows down council operations, and it's just not fair to force someone to use their own personal vehicle when they're conducting city business. Current rules already require a valid driver's license. It's been suggested that my chief of staff did not have a valid driver's license. She does. She meets the requirements. And also, the change is not required by the insurance company and creates unnecessary operational challenges. I simply oppose the change. If we wish to make the change, that's fine. I simply oppose it because at the end of the day, this policy has been in place. It really hasn't been changed as I look at it since 1956, but it was updated just 5 years ago, and the change wasn't necessary then. I want to continue to be able to allow responsible staff members who have a license to be able to conduct the business of the city using the city's vehicles, and it's as simple as that. I'll close with saying one other thing because I feel that I have to clarify and make clear my name. A reporter just asked me if I let my wife use the car. Well, you know, I have a chief of staff who has a maiden name of Green, so can we get past that, whoever is bringing that up? I would never have my wife drive a city vehicle, and she has never done so. I'm going to make sure that there's no misunderstanding and there's no misinterpretation. The fact is that everything that has been done according to city council policy. I simply don't favor changing it at this time. That's all.
Thank you. Two quick points of clarification. The individuals authorized to drive city council vehicles in the policy are enumerated and named. And those names include every individual council member, as well as their executive protection, as well as the NOPD law enforcement officers who are assigned to the city council itself. I do appreciate that there was a disconnect between policy and the insurance policy, but in talking to the vast majority of our colleagues, they all agreed that when looking at different uses of city vehicles and insurance liability and exposure, it is always best to err on the side of a policy that is more restrictive, not less restrictive. So though I appreciate Council Member Green's position, it is my position that we need to take city council vehicles very seriously. There have been some significant issues in the past regarding council vehicles and authorized use, and I think limiting that use to the most restrictive possible interpretation is in the best interest of the people and the best interest of the city council as a whole as far as our liability position. So with that, I will move.
I'd like to respond, though.
Sure, go ahead, Mr. Green.
Instead of cutting off staff access, in my opinion, we should allow authorized staff to drive when designated in writing by the city council member. If you would be willing to accept it, council member.
I will not accept it.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, you asked me that. I'm just making a comment. I didn't say that I want, look, I know how to write up an amendment, and I have chosen not to write up an amendment. At the end of the day, I'm asking council members to allow the policy to stay in place. And let's keep in mind that no matter what is put on the internet, at the end of the day, we have a council policy in writing that says authorized members of the council staff. That is in writing. It doesn't say that it has to be any particular person. That is the writing. I'm sorry that we didn't change the policy, but if anyone knew that they had an issue with insurance, for example, then we should have changed that a long time ago. If we're going to change it now, that's fine. Let's vote on it. But there is nothing that has ever been in place under this council that restricts this language other than authorized members of the council's staff. And it's very specific relative to staff.
All right, with that, I have closed. I will move. Well, actually, let me clear the speaker. I don't know if the machines are working today. I'll move to report this motion favorably. Can I get a second? Second by Councilmember Harris. All in favor say aye. All opposed?
Nay.
4 yeas, 1 nay. The motion will be reported favorably. That is not eligible for the consent agenda, correct, Ashley?
No, it has to be unanimous.
It has to be unanimous for consent agenda, correct?
I don't honestly believe so. Let me double check the rules.
Well, as a council member, I would like to not have it on the consent agenda.
If you don't want the consent agenda, that's absolutely fine. I would move that the other items that were passed today be added to the consent agenda.
Council members, I believe since we have a quorum, like if we didn't have a quorum in this meeting, and that would be one thing, but if we didn't have all members of the committee and we had a quorum, you guys voted unanimously, we'll go on consent agenda anyway. So
Okay.
Because there's one name, but
Sounds
I would
good.
double
So
check. I am not.
we will make sure that
Ms.
this item is not
Anita.
on the consent agenda. It's fine.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All right, we are adjourned.